Jeffrey Epstein, the man at the center of scandals, secrets, and perhaps the greatest financial mystery of modern times.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Yes.
How did he make his money? What was the real story behind his supposed hedge fund? And most importantly, why does no one in finance seem to know? Today, we're diving into the mystery behind Epstein's hedge fund that didn't exist. I'm not a financial advisor. But before we get into it, welcome to BitBoy X, the home of hard-hitting crypto tech and conspiracy deep dives. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any content. Miss just one, you're gonna get behind. Epstein claimed to be a billionaire hedge fund manager, yet no one ever saw him on Wall Street, and no institutional brokers traded with him. 2019, NY Mag published a story explaining that despite Epstein's claims, there was never any actual proof of him being a trader. People like Douglas Cass, a well-known Palm Beach resident and hedge fund manager, were baffled. Cass asked around, how did Epstein make his fortune? Even as recently as today, years after his death, people are still asking this very question. The source of his wealth remains unknown, and yet it fueled not only his lifestyle, but also some dark and powerful connections.
What is the actual allegation you're making? Who do you think Jeffrey Epstein actually was?
I don't know. It's a great question, but I knew that he wasn't who he said he was almost from the instant I started speaking to him. If I had to make a guess, and you're calling for speculation, I would say that he really belonged to what is almost certainly the covert operations community, and that he did not appear to have a prime broker. Nobody seemed to have traded with him. Nobody seems to ask questions around him. So it's very suspicious that we don't, for example, ask for Form 13F. If he was a major hedge fund trader, it's almost impossible to move through the markets without leaving a wake. If you have to speculate, I would say that he probably belonged to covert operations for one or more nations.
Some believe Epstein wasn't managing investments at all. Instead, it's theorized that he used blackmail to gain power over wealthy individuals, forcing them to invest their money with him in exchange for silence. This was even suggested by one of Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre, who claimed Epstein would gather intimate, potentially damaging information on his associates. We can only imagine how this played out behind closed doors, and who knows? He had a knack for getting very powerful people near him. Almost like an invisible thread tied them together. Once people met Epstein, they didn't often escape the association with him. As demonstrated by Epstein's own lawyer, Alan Dershowitz. Not only was he the lawyer, but he himself has had plenty of accusations against him, including one from Virginia Giuffre. And right here, Alan is about to get called out for remaining close to the Epstein circle.
And that what we're looking at is a very strange, you can shake your head, Alan, but it's also the case that I don't necessarily believe that you stopped associating with him personally at the time of his conviction.
But guys, it's not Alan's fault, nope.
Look, I don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is. He was very, very, I didn't even want to meet him initially. But Lady Rothschild insisted.
If you're into this kind of deep dive, by the way, and want to know more about how power, wealth, and influence collide, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, we've only scratched the surface. Epstein's financial structure only adds to the suspicion. His fund was based offshore in the US Virgin Islands, a known tax haven. And the only confirmed client of his was retail magnate Les Wexner. But beyond Wexner, there was no publicized list of investors. And Epstein's lavish wealth seemed to defy normal financial logic. So how did he make it all work? Was it clever investing, or was there something far more sinister at play? Some people suggest Epstein simply funneled the funds into low-risk, high-return assets like US Treasuries or the S&P 500, collecting steady profits for himself and his secretive financiers. But there's a more likely theory. Epstein's real wealth was derived from blackmail. He could have coerced the rich and powerful into giving him their money under threat of exposure. Here's a quick story how Epstein blackmailed and bullied a man who was once considered to be the richest in the world.
Jeffrey Epstein discovered that Bill Gates had an affair with a Russian bridge player and later appeared to use his knowledge to threaten one of the world's richest men, according to people familiar with the matter. The Microsoft co-founder met the woman around 2010 when she was in her 20s. Epstein met her in 2013 and later paid for her to attend software coding school. The email came after the convicted sex offender had struggled and failed to persuade Gates to participate in a multi-billion-dollar charitable fund that Epstein tried to establish with JP Morgan Chase. And that whole story right there sounds like more blackmail. He went to JP Morgan and said, I want to get a bunch of the richest people in the world to invest $100 million into this fund, and then I get paid millions out of it. They say the implication behind the message, according to people who viewed it, was that Epstein could reveal the affair if Gates didn't keep up an association between the two men. Now, is this why Bill Gates divorced his wife?
Yes.
You think so?
Absolutely. But Epstein's reach extended beyond just his mysterious wealth. In fact, the second layer of his power lay in his connections to elite science and academia. Despite his criminal history, Epstein managed to insert himself into the highest circles of scientific research, donating millions of dollars to institutions like MIT and Harvard. And let's be for real, why would prestigious Ivy League schools associate with someone like Epstein after his 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor? The answer may not be as simple as money alone. According to Eric Weinstein and other insiders, Epstein was not just funding these institutions. He was buying access to the future. Epstein had a deep fascination with transhumanism, the belief that humanity can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations through technology. Whether it was artificial intelligence, gene editing, or quantum computing, Epstein seemed determined to be part of these cutting-edge advancements. The big question is, was he funding science out of pure interest, or was he using this access for more hidden agendas? Podcaster Chris Williamson does a pretty good job here of talking it through, and I love Eric Weinstein's reaction at the end.
He took an interest in physics, and I don't know why. And you do. At least you have an idea about why he took an interest in physics, Jeffrey. But I don't know why. I don't know why Jeffrey Epstein was interested in physics.
Well, what would you guess?
There's some special mathematics there that allows him to, or the people that he is associated with, to better be able to predict things, to be able to use it in some sort of a way around financial markets, around new technology that's emerging, to just be able to see the direction that the future of technology is moving in, perhaps?
By God, I think he's got it. Now, the thing that's so wild here is that Epstein was looking into the most cutting-edge tech in the world. He and some other folks want to live forever. And having big money and interest in science got Jeffrey Epstein and his financiers through the door at many elite institutions. So why didn't anyone in the elite scientific community cut ties with Epstein, especially after his criminal record became public? The simple answer might be the money. Epstein donated significant sums to research and projects that otherwise might not have been funded.
Well, following weeks of silence, Harvard is now acknowledging tonight that it received millions of dollars from Jeffrey Epstein.
The university condemned the actions of Epstein. And Liam Martin joins us now with the latest. But Liam, officials say most of the money's already been spent.
And Paul and David, that's right. Harvard says they will be reviewing these donations from Epstein, which took place from 1998 to 2007. The university says the biggest gift they received from Epstein was $6.5 million to support the program for evolutionary dynamics. They say nearly all the money they received from Epstein was spent years ago. Harvard, though, says the remainder of the money, $185,000, will be redirected to organizations that support victims of human trafficking and sexual assault. In a statement tonight, Harvard University President Lawrence Palau said Epstein's behavior raises significant questions about how institutions like ours review and vet donors. Palau also added that he regrets Epstein's past association with the school and that he will be reviewing how to prevent these situations in the future.
Those institutions, they weren't saying no. But listen, as I've hinted, there's also the more chilling possibility, and I believe reality, that Epstein acted as a middleman, connecting scientists with billionaires looking to exploit technological breakthroughs for their own gain. There's very specific billionaires, and not all the billionaires they work for. It's hard to ignore how Epstein, with his limited credentials, was able to manipulate his way into influencing future defining fields of research. Reports from institutions like MIT show that some staff were uncomfortable with Epstein's involvement, but still the money kept flowing. Was this simply a case of greed? Or was there more at play? Like the fear of what Epstein could reveal about his connections with powerful figures in both science and politics. The truth is, Epstein's story is far from over. His money and influence continue to haunt the world of finance and science. What we've uncovered today, it's just the tip of the iceberg. How much of today's scientific research was shaped or tainted by Epstein's dark connections? Did Epstein's manipulation reach deeper into the future of humanity than we realize? What was he really after? And more importantly, who was he working for? To end this video, we're going to leave you with a question that nobody seems to be asking. Given all the wealth and access that Epstein had, is it possible that his involvement in science wasn't just personal ambition, but part of a larger agenda? We'll let you think about that one. We want to hear from you. What do you think was really at the core of Epstein's empire? Was it manipulation, blackmail, or something much bigger? Leave your thoughts down below in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more. It's all I got. Be blessed. Big boy out.